It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. But what if that man is autistic? Would he still be in want of a wife? Would that wife be in want of him? I'm Nancy. This is my first ever proper YouTube video. I mean, I made some in COVID when I was like 13, but that's what we're going to be talking about, whether or not Mr. Darcy is autistic. But first, who is Mr. Darcy? Mr. Darcy is the male romantic lead in Jane Austen's most commercially successful novel, Pride and Prejudice. At first, the main character, Elizabeth, views him as proud and disagreeable, but over the course of the book, she realises he is kind and honest, if a little pretentious and socially awkward. In the centuries since the book has been released, many of people have declared that he is the ideal man. So why do I think he's autistic? We'll start with the scene where he is first introduced. Mr. Darcy describes having to socialise with others as a punishment and appears to not understand or not care about social norms when he refuses to dance at the party. Elizabeth's initial dislike of Mr. Darcy is chiefly due to something she overheard him saying. This could suggest he has trouble varying the volume of his voice correctly, something which many autistic people struggle with, including me. Those are 3 traits associated with autism in his first scene. Other autistic traits are mentioned in other parts of the book. When Caroline Bingley sarcastically asks if Elizabeth's eyes could be replicated in paint, he takes the question literally and describes exactly how it could be done. When Sir Lucas describes dancing as one of the chief refinements of polished societies, Mr. Darcy immediately points out its almost worldwide ubiquity. Correcting perceived flaws in someone's reasoning, even when it isn't necessary or socially acceptable, is an accidental mistake made by many autistic people. Mr. Darcy also has a strong dislike of deception, especially in social situations, saying that whatever bears affinity to cunning is despicable. Many autistic people struggle to understand why someone could conceal their personality or dislike of a person, and often have negative experiences of people pretending to be friendly to mock or bully them. Despite his privilege, it is possible that Mr. Darcy had similar experiences, especially due to his association with the charming Mr. Wickham. Another possible autistic trait in Mr. Darcy is his very black and white sense of morals. Saying that his good opinion, once lost, is lost forever. Autistic people are often rude accidentally, typically through bluntness or lack of understanding of others' perspectives. Mr. Darcy makes many such social blunders over the course of the book, too many to count really, perhaps most damagingly in his first proposal to Elizabeth, where he rather impressively manages to imply that Elizabeth's family are completely worthless and that he likes Elizabeth against his better judgment. And when I say imply, I do mean he stated it bluntly and to her face. Which, oops a daisies. Unsurprisingly, she rejects this proposal. As I said, it is his first proposal. He does propose again, successfully. Perhaps the most explicit piece of evidence for my reading of Mr. Darcy is autistic is how he struggles to read other people. He himself says, "I certainly have not the talents which some people possess of conversing easily with those I have never seen before. I cannot catch their tone of conversation or appear interested in their concerns as I have so often seen done." That statement, in my opinion, needs little analysis or justification, as it so clearly and succinctly summarises so many struggles experienced by autistic people. This statement is in fact evidence within the narrative when he fails to recognise Jane's attraction to Bingley. So I've explained why I view Mr. Darcy as autistic, but why does it matter? To tell you that, I'm going to have to give you a general overview of autistic representation in film and TV. Autistic representation comes in mainly 4 forms: children, robots and aliens, that man, and one-off jokes. The child comes up a lot, especially in the short mini-series revolving around their family trying to cope with their condition. The pervasive inclusion of autistic children, but not adults, causes problems for adult autistic people accessing support and exercising their own autonomy. The robot/alien is a very interesting one. Obviously, they aren't actually autistic, but they are often used as a metaphor or allegory for autism, or are related to by autistic viewers. Many people find real comfort in these characters, but the fact that they are often physically capable of love and friendship makes them not exactly ideal as the primary way older autistic people see themselves represented. Characters like Spock have been useful in times with no explicit human representation, but like the child, they're not exactly someone you'd get in a relationship with, unless you are Captain Kirk, in which case you are. That man, trademark, is probably the hardest to explain. He's probably a copy-paste of Sheldon Cooper, with a few superficial changes. He's thin, white, with dark hair and a weird cut into a weird shape. Fairly conventionally attractive, but other characters act like he's super ugly. He's hyper intelligent to an almost comical degree, as well as completely socially inept, with seemingly no willingness to change. He's either completely innocent about sex and relationships with no desire for a romantic relationship, or the opposite, entirely motivated by sex with no regard for consent, which obviously is great. The fourth is the one-off joke. This one is surface level and simple. He's smelly, annoying, and viewed as, I can't do words. He is smelly, annoying, and completely stupid. By now you might have noticed a theme. None of these characters are ever viewed as attractive or romantic. Think of one autistic character who has a relationship that's treated with the same depth and earnestness as their neurotypical castmates. You probably can't. If you can, well done. 10 out of 10. Drop them in the comments. While it's important to remember and include asexual and aromantic autistic people, however, never being shown in a romantic or sexual relationship is infantilizing and prevents autistic people from exploring within themselves. Before we finish, I think it's important to acknowledge the importance of Pride and Prejudice to romance as a genre. It is perhaps the single most influential romance novel ever. The majority of modern rom-coms trace some of their inspirations back to Pride and Prejudice. As I said at the start, Mr. Darcy is often seen as the ideal man, and that is why I think it's important to acknowledge that if not actually autistic, Mr. Darcy has many autistic traits. Making sure we remember this can help us analyse who we view as worthy of romance and why, and hopefully include autistic people in that conversation. Thank you very much for listening. That was originally written as my Year 10 English speech. So at the end of Year 10 for my GCSEs, I had to verbally say some stuff. I hope you enjoyed it. I might do a follow-up in a bit, because I do have more thoughts that have evolved in the 3 years since. 2 years. 3 years. 3 years. I can count. So stay tuned for that if you want to hear more Mr. Darcy is Autistic content. Thank you very much for watching.